My name is Anne Frost, and I'm a grandmother from West Vancouver in British Columbia.
I'm Pat Evans, and I'm from Ottawa, and I have 4 grandchildren who range in age from 3 to 10.
You know, in 9/11, there were 3,000 people died that day, but the same day in Africa, 6,500 people died, and they've died every day since.
People are dying around the world of preventable diseases right now. And we have the resources and we have the technology and the science to offer them an alternative to dying of a preventable disease.
I have seen babies in South Africa with AIDS just lying in their cribs. I've also seen mothers holding these babies, and there is so much love in the eyes of these mothers as they're holding their babies, and yet you know that those babies are going to die in a matter of days or a matter of weeks, and it's one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
Absolutely unconscionable, disgusting that people in this day and age are dying of diseases that are preventable and treatable.
It's incomprehensible to me to consider myself in the situation that these women are living in.
I consider that it is an outrage. When we have the resources, particularly in the developed world, that there is anybody anywhere who doesn't have access to the drugs they need to save their lives, to save their children's lives, to save their grandchildren's lives, to save their partner's lives. It's not acceptable.
Those lives could be saved if they had the medicines that we take for granted here and that we have promised to provide.
I don't know whether I'm more outraged or terribly heartbroken about those who are dying who don't have access to a treatment that they should have.
Canada's camera legislation was originally intended to help. Canadians wanted to help. It was unanimously voted for in our Houses of Parliament, which is a great credit to Canada.
The problem with CAMR is that it's so overburdened with regulations, it makes it almost impossible for the generic manufacturers to meet the requirements, and it makes it almost impossible for the applying country to meet the bureaucratic requirements, to get over the hurdles.
Canada's access to medicines regime is cumbersome. It is difficult to use for Canadian generic drug companies. It is more difficult to use for countries in Africa who need to get the generic drugs into their people.
It must be changed.
I think Bill C-393 has the potential to make a huge difference because it streamlines a very complicated process.
Bill C-393 is an opportunity. It's a magnificent opportunity to amend CAMR.
Please pass the bill. We are dying in Africa. We are at your mercy. The minute you pass the bill, we know that our life will be rescued. We will have a longer life. We'll be having available of the medication in our health centers. There would be no waiting lists.
I'm begging. And I am kneeling down. Could you please pass this bill?
We are marching in the light of God. Oh, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching. Marching, we are marching.